It was about 2008. I was sitting in my apartment. I had a finance job and I was sitting there dreaming about building my own SaaS business. Now, I'm an engineer first, and then I learned all this go-to-market stuff. So that time, it was cool to actually have that dream of building a product that thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people would use. That was cool. But more than that, building that SaaS business, launching that product, getting it out there, quitting my finance job, and actually owning my own business was the dream. It was essentially independence. It was freedom. It was getting to that point where I could just do whatever I want. Fast forward to today, after multiple SaaS companies that I've started, at least one that I've exited, another one that I've helped exit, the one that bought mine. Now I love talking to pre-founders, founders that are at that stage, sitting in their apartment, maybe coming home from that job that they don't love that much, and just dreaming about building a SaaS business. And fast forward to today, building a SaaS business is more exciting than ever before because of AI, because of things like ChatGPT and Claude and Bard and everything else that's coming out all at once, and large language models. SaaS and what SaaS can do for businesses is crazier than ever, and the opportunities are greater than ever. Knowing everything that I know in my 15 plus years of experience, in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through 7 great AI-enabled SaaS ideas. And unlike a lot of these other videos on the internet where they just give you these ideas, I'm actually gonna walk you through the framework that I use to battle test my ideas, to develop my ideas, so that I don't waste months building the wrong product. So I'm gonna actually walk you through my framework, and in the end, I'm gonna apply that framework with you at the end of this video. I'm gonna give you my 7 ideas that comes out of that. And it's my sincere hope for you, what I call the pre-founder, that you can apply this framework and apply these principles. You get inspired by these 7 ideas, and you too build and launch that SaaS business and get to that dream of yours, whether it's independence like it was for me, freedom like it was for me, or just getting a really great product out there. Whatever it may be, when you watch till the end of this episode, I sincerely hope you get inspired to take action on it. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So if you're new, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. Now, if you're already part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching programs, my people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. Back when I started ToutApp, that was the first original sales engagement platform. That was my last big company. It was backed by Andreessen Horowitz and other venture capitalists. It was a different game to build new SaaS products. You just had to build products that were maybe on-premise, and you had to bring it to the cloud. That was the transformation that was happening. Thanks to ChatGPT, thanks to Claude, thanks to Bard, thanks to Stable Diffusion, thanks to all these incredible AI platforms, it is now an incredible time to be building SaaS products. So in this episode, I'm gonna walk you through my 3 principles that I use to develop SaaS product ideas, make sure I don't waste months building them, and I'm gonna show you how I apply that framework, and I'm gonna give you 7 of my best ideas that I have for a very specific market we're gonna go after. So if you're excited to dig in, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and let's dig right into it. And also, in case you're wondering, why am I giving you my great ideas? Because this is for a particular market that I never plan to compete in, but is actually a great market. Okay, so principle number 1 that you need to know if you're that pre-founder, if you're dreaming about owning your own SaaS business and you wanna save yourself from months of building the wrong product, you actually need to know my MGP framework. It's not MVP, it's actually MGP. What MGP stands for is market, go-to-market, and then product. What that means is I do a lot of work up front on the market I'm going after. I try to actually go after that market, and then I validate that idea and stress test that idea, and then I build the product. So if you're watching this video and you're in that pre-founder stage, don't write a line of code. That is the best way to actually waste months of building the wrong product. Actually follow this MGP framework, and that's principle number 1 that I use to develop my ideas. As I'm explaining the principles to you, I'm gonna actually apply this framework that's gonna lead to these 7 ideas. If you watch till the end of this episode, you'll see the progression of my thinking on how I develop these SaaS ideas versus giving you a bunch of random ideas. In this particular scenario, the market that I'm gonna go after, this is essentially my ICP, this is the market I'm going after, the ideal customer profile, are salespeople. This is a market that I don't plan on competing in again, but I competed in for nearly a decade because of my tout app journey, which is why I can give you these great ideas because I'm never going to compete in that market. It's a great market, but I've moved on to other things. I operate other SaaS businesses now in different markets. So salespeople is going to be the ideal customer profile that I'm going to have. And specifically, let's just say it's going to be inside salespeople. And what that means is these are people that are sitting in the office or working from home and doing sales calls over Zoom or Teams or whatever it is, or making phone calls or cold calling. These are inside salespeople versus field salespeople, enterprise salespeople who are maybe going out into the field and visiting customers. As you are developing your SaaS ideas, you should always start with the M in the market, because if you don't focus on a very specific group of people you're solving a problem for, you'll end up wasting a lot of months building a product that no one wants, and it's almost always the case. And then you have to face the pain, you have to go back to the drawing board, and maybe you have a product that can be salvageable, maybe you pivot into something, but it just prolongs the entire period. If you actually want to build a product that quickly hits revenues and has a high likelihood of actually getting to product market fit, you'll want to start with the market. So in this case, as I'm applying this with you as we develop our 7 ideas, I'm going to actually focus on inside salespeople. Once I have the market, I want to develop this a little bit more. I want to really understand the market, and I really want to understand what makes these inside salespeople tick. Because most importantly, the thing that you're really honing in on is who your ideal customer is and what the urgent and important problem is. Urgent and important. I'll abbreviate this. That's what we're really going to. A lot of times people come up with these random ideas and like, well, it's this for this group of people. It's kind of like this, but it's for them. But what you fail to actually dig into is it urgent and important? Is it solving a problem that's urgent and important for this group of people? So as I'm developing these 7 ideas by the end of this video, and by the way, I've done the work on this, so I already have all my notes that I'm going to be following, and I'm just going to walk you through it as I go through it. As we are developing this, I'm going to end up with the 7 ideas that I've already developed. I'm going to show the work essentially so you can apply it to your specific target market and develop your own ideas or get inspired by one of these ideas. Totally cool. Once I have the market, the way I really understand whether it's urgent and important is principle number 2. Principle number 2 is the jobs to be done framework, JTD. This is not complicated. Jobs to be done framework is, what are the things that this person does in a day-to-day basis? What's their job? Because if you're building software that they're willing to pay for, it has to tie directly to some of the things that they do on a daily basis. And when they look at your product, they're gonna say, yeah, I have this urgent and important problem as I'm doing this job, and if this product solves for that, I'll pay for it. It's a no-brainer for them. One of the ways to save yourself from months of building the wrong product is to follow the jobs to be done framework. Now again, I spent nearly a decade developing for salespeople, having dinners with salespeople, building software for salespeople, and so I know them pretty well. So I know what the job to be done is, and in some cases, I'm still in sales. Everybody's in sales when you're a founder. I'm gonna break this down into 4 key parts of their day in terms of the jobs to be done framework, and this is gonna help me develop some urgent and important problems they have and the 7 ideas. This is how I got to my 7 ideas. So you wake up in the morning, you're an inside sales rep. How do you spend the progression of your day? Now for a second, we'll just pretend they wake up, they meditate, they shower, then they go to the office, and then they look at their email, right? In reality, they're probably looking at it right as soon as they wake up, but still the same. The jobs to be done essentially goes with the following. First, they are looking at existing deals. Every single salesperson has a certain number of deals that they're following. And so they're gonna look at their inbox, they're gonna look at what's going on in their CRM, they're gonna be like, where are my existing deals at? Did any of the people get back to me? Did any of the contracts close? Like, where are we? That's kind of the first thing they focus on. The second thing that they focus on is prospecting, if they're a good salesperson. Prospecting is essentially how you create net new pipeline. Now, depending on the inside salesperson and the organization structure, they may have some dedicated resources that's prospecting for them, but every great salesperson, the best of the best that actually have money that they can spend on tools like the ones you're building, always does prospecting on their own. They're always on the lookout for that next deal, even if they know their calendar is going to get booked by an SDR or a really great marketing organization. So prospecting is kind of the second bucket that this inside salesperson has in their jobs to be done framework, in the day of in the life of. And the third thing they're going to be doing is new deals. They're going to have new appointments and new opportunities that they are going to be getting into and they're going to be talking to. They're going to get on a Zoom call. They're going to say, hey, thanks for booking some time with us. What's going on in your world that caused you to book a demo with us to review our SaaS platform? So that's kind of like every single salesperson is doing. That's essentially their new deals. If you zoom out, in terms of the course of the day of a salesperson, these are the 3 key job functions that they're essentially doing. So that's kind of what I want you to do in this type of framework as you are developing your ideas. And this is how I got to the 7 ideas that I'm going to walk you through right over here. The way I want you to approach this is get very specific about the market you're going after, and then understand what are the 3 to 4 pillars of their job. What does their job entail? And then out of that, you can pull out what are the urgent and important problems out of the tasks that they're doing, and you can map it to ideas and products that you can build to solve those problems. Isn't that crazy? So what we're going to do from here is in principle number 3, we're going to break these down in there's 3 ideas over here, A, B, C. I'm going to have 2 ideas under prospecting and 2 ideas under new deals. So that should give us 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. D, E, F, G. Okay, so we're going to have these 7 ideas get mapped out over here as principle number 3. Before I dig into principle number 3, which helps you understand your target market, the jobs to be done, and then extract out the urgent and important problems, let me just pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power in this? I haven't even given you my 7 ideas, but what I know in my heart of hearts is that if you apply this framework for your ideal market that you're thinking about, then you will save months of building the wrong product. And that dream of building that incredible SaaS company, whether it's to build a winning product or independence or wealth, whatever it may be, you're gonna be that much more successful with it. If you're starting to see the power in this, can I just get a yes in the comments below? And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that, and so do we. Put a lot of love into these videos. Also, if you're in this stage where you're trying to develop your SaaS idea, you don't know what you're gonna build, you don't know what market you're gonna go after, and you're trying to figure out what's even the market I'm going after, then I encourage you to check out my 10-point SaaS business checklist. You don't have to go anywhere right now. I'll tell you about it at the end of this episode. I'll link to it below. Let's go to principle number 3, where all this comes together, and I actually show you these 7 ideas that I developed using the framework that I'm teaching you. Also, smash that like button for that YouTube algorithm. He just loves it when you do that. And honestly, between you and me, so do we. Like, it's really great to see it. Okay, now I'm gonna go in and we're gonna walk through what are some of the things, if I double click on each of these jobs to be done phases, what are some of the things they do on a daily basis? And that's gonna uncover some problems that they have. Again, I've talked to probably 1,000 salespeople, and that's part of this G over here. You gotta go talk to your ideal market, your ideal customer profile, so that you can actually understand what these problems are, what their day-to-day is. It also always helps if you've got domain knowledge in the market you're going after. If you have been a salesperson before, you're more likely to build a SaaS product where salespeople will use it because you just know about that. If you know nothing about it, then you have less of a chance. It's not impossible, you just have to learn that much more with more customer interviews. It's super important for you to actually talk to these people so you can understand what does their day-to-day look like, and how do you break those down into key urgent and important problems that they have. For an inside salesperson, when they get in the morning and they're looking at their existing deals, there are certain things that they're actually looking through. The first thing they're looking through, and I'm gonna actually put these problems in red. So the first thing that they're looking through is responses, meaning they've got existing deals in flight and people are responding. They're maybe coming back with objections. Maybe they're asking questions. Maybe they're like, just like, hey, can I push this by a week? I gotta go talk to this guy. So the first thing they have to deal with is the deal might get back, but they haven't done anything with it. The second one might be a happy case where they want a deal. All of a sudden they close the deal overnight and now they have to take next steps. The third thing they have to deal with are dead deals. These are deals that they had a call with and they got the wink and the nod. The person was like, this is great. I'm totally gonna buy. I love this. I'm gonna tell my whole team about it. I just gotta talk to my CFO. And then that was 2 weeks ago and you haven't heard anything from them. And so the salesperson's like, this is a dead deal. What do I do with it? These are 3 problems that exist in the existing deal space. So for each of these 3 things, there's essentially an opportunity for a SaaS product. This could be a massive SaaS product. This could be a micro SaaS product. That's for you to decide and dig into. So when you map these out into opportunities, you essentially have, well, they got some responses. There could be a lot of questions around how do I respond to this objection? What is the objection? They just asked a product question. What do I say about this? So there's a question and opportunity on how do I respond? Similar to one, when you win a deal, believe it or not, if you're in sales, there's like 50 other things that you need to do now to make sure that deal is successful. You could also be doing something around, well, now I need to actually ask them for making sure that they're happy with what they purchased. There could be any number of things that could be done. So there's a question around, how do I onboard this deal? Similar to that, if there's a dead deal, they gave you the wink and the nod, but they just haven't gotten back to you. A big problem that they have is, how do I resurrect this deal? And that's actually the term that salespeople use, literally bringing back from the dead. How do I resurrect this deal? So those are three opportunities that you essentially have to build a product around to serve salespeople. And believe it or not, a standard CRM system doesn't do all that much for them in this specific scenario. That's the crazy part about CRM. That's why even something like sales engagement became an entire multi-billion-dollar category, because CRM didn't really do it, at least not back then. Once you have these two mapped, this is where the ideas start to come together. So I'm gonna give you the first three ideas, and then we're gonna do it again for the next phase and the next phase. Okay? By the way, if you're getting value, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It loves it when you do that. So how can I solve this? This is kind of the thing that as you're talking to salespeople, as I'm talking to salespeople, you can start to ask yourself like, okay, they're working on existing deals. This is a big problem that they have. They have to deal with these responses. They don't know how. How do I respond? So how can I solve for this? This is where before, any SaaS product was really like, hey, let's just log everything that you did. Let's put it in a database. But because there's AI now, and because you have things like GPT-3 and Bard and Claude, and even stuff like Stable Diffusion, you can get really creative about how you can use AI to help these people. And so in this kind of scenario, what you could do is build an AI tool that writes responses. An example of this could be you read the question and you train a model and it knows exactly what the customer is asking for. Maybe they have an objection. Maybe you train the model on common objections. Maybe you train the model on common product data. Maybe they have a product question. And what you can start to do is build a tool that reads the responses that are coming back from the customers and is super trained on actually helping that salesperson respond to the customer's response and move the deal forward. Similarly, if they just won a deal, you could train an AI model on the best practices on exactly what to do to onboard a new customer. You can analyze all the emails that have been sent by the salesperson on won deals. You can look and be trained on their checklist of onboarding, and you can start to put it on autopilot and saying, hey, salesperson, go grab a beer. Congratulations, you just made some money. I will take care of the onboarding and make sure you get paid your commission. So you can actually automate certain tasks. You can maybe even respond back to the customer with next steps and important information, certain asks, whatever it is, you can start to automate this and actually craft responses back to make sure things keep moving forward. Okay, dead deal. This is where it gets super interesting because you can start to think about, well, as an AI agent, as a SaaS product, I can get the recording of the sales calls. I can look at the CRM data. I can look at the past conversation history. So if there's a dead deal, you can train your AI model to review the recordings of everything that's happened in the sales process and identify exactly how they can resuscitate a deal or resurrect this deal. It could be highlighting the pain point that they talked about originally. It could be responding with something that always gets a response. It could be saying something valuable in terms of a macro trend. It could be any number of things that you can train this AI model on, and you can say, here's how to write an email or connect in some other way. Maybe you DM them, and here's exactly what to say based on all the data we have from the sales call and their conversations and what they said and what was important to them and what they said when they gave you the wink and the nod. And you can use all of that data on a custom trained AI model to actually respond. So we went from, we want to solve for salespeople. What are the jobs they do? In that job, what are the scenarios that come up? And what's our opportunity and what's the SaaS product that we can build? And by the way, you don't have to make a SaaS product that does only one of these things. You can make a SaaS product that does all 7 of these things, and that could be a massive company. In fact, it probably will be. Or you could just do one of these and make it a micro SaaS product. It doesn't matter, it's up to you. That's the power of this framework. Okay, let's keep going. Those are the first 3 ideas. Then let's get into prospecting. Let's just say the salesperson comes in and now they're using your product. It's like, hey, TK, here are 3 responses from customers. I already pre-drafted the response from you based on whether they're objections or product questions or rebuttals or whatever. You can review them and send them out. Here are 3 deals that you've won. It's been a good night. I'm gonna go buy myself a nice watch or something. I don't know, my commission check's coming. So maybe now it also preps your onboarding materials and emails and says, hey, here's what you need to do next. We've already got it drafted. And maybe it let accounting know and the CSM know, whatever needs to be done. And maybe it already identified like, hey, TK, here are 3 dead deals. I already sent them an email trying to resuscitate them after reviewing everything they said in the sales call. So you're like, sweet, I guess I can just move to the next part of my day. Let's go get some new deals. Let's do some prospecting because I don't have any meetings until the afternoon. Pretty awesome. So now let's go into prospecting. What are the problems that come up for inside salespeople and the jobs to be done? This is the phase we're in. They're now prospecting. Turns out salespeople have 3 things that they do in the course of their day when they're trying to find gold. This is like, I'm going to find some opportunities for me. I want to move things along because I win 20% of the deals. In order to hit my number, I actually need way more deals. Pipeline coverage. We talked about this before. So the first thing they look at is what deals have I lost? A lot of the best salespeople look at what deals they lost a month ago or 2 months ago and figure out a way to get back to them and say, hey, maybe now's a better time to actually talk. Maybe now's a better time to buy. The second thing they look at is every salesperson has a certain territory. They might have California, they might have New York, they might have a certain zip code if you work for Salesforce because it's so big. And so one of the things they always look at is, hey, what are the changes that have happened in my territory? So there's job changes, new people might be moving jobs, there might be news coming from specific companies I'm tracking that are in my territory. There might be certain events like they just raised a round of funding. So any number of these things can be happening. So what salespeople do is go search for these in their territory. And they actually search for like, hey, for this company, what happened? They're in my territory. What do I need to do? And that allows them to actually have an excuse to reach out to them when they're prospecting and be very personalized. Therein lies your opportunity. So out of these 2, well, you can go and say, how do I re-engage? And specifically, what's my excuse for now? Like, why am I hitting them up now? Over here, it's how do I personalize so that I'm not just prospecting in a random way. Therein lies your opportunity. So you could build a SaaS product. Let's go back to Blue. And you can say, hey, I'm going to analyze all the data. Again, you can review the sales calls and the recordings. You can actually go in and say, hey, what's working and what's not? Why did they say no? Did they say to reach back out in 90 days? Was it a quarterly issue? Any number of things could have happened, and AI can analyze all that and then come back with a reason saying, hey, here's the best hook on how to re-engage them. And you can write the email for them. And maybe it's not just about writing emails. Maybe the AI is smart enough to say, hey, they just posted this on LinkedIn, so go check that out and comment on it. So you can always make it more about next step. Or you can give some sort of insight about here are the lost deals and here's what to say. So the salesperson can figure out what to do. Again, you are essentially figuring out what the challenges are in their day, in their job, and figuring out how to solve them in a better way. And it's easier than ever before because you can make your SaaS application AI enabled. Similar to the job changes thing, you can create an entire dossier on specific opportunities that they should be prospecting into and why. They can analyze all the events in a specific territory, look at all the posts, look at the blog posts, look at the press releases, and based on that, I can say, in your territory, here are the 3 companies you should prospect into, and here's why, and here's a whole dossier on them. And that in itself could be an incredible SaaS product. Are you starting to see the power in this? You start to see how, instead of giving you a bunch of random ideas, and this is just for a specific market, you can apply this framework for your specific market that you have domain knowledge in or you really want to serve, and you can work on the market first, and then you can figure out the jobs to be done, you can figure out the opportunities, you can go to that market and talk to these people, and then you can figure out what SaaS ideas might make sense. And before you even write a line of code, you can go back to these people and ask them like, hey, would you want to buy this thing if we built it? Do you want to like pilot it? And you have ready-made customers that are primed and warmed up. Okay, let's keep going. I gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we have 2 more to go. And let's keep going. New deals. One of the things I learned with new deals and salespeople is the best salespeople nailed down the art of the follow-up. There's the actual running of the call. You get on the call and you do the call. And there's plenty of things out there that maybe you analyze the call and give them live coaching. I'm not bought on those yet because I just don't think large language models are smart enough and fast enough for that yet. So I think those are a little gimmicky. And I think most sales leaders think so too. However, let's just say you finished a call. And so post-call, The salesperson pretty much has to sit there and figure out, what do I say as a follow-up? Now, they have a standard template for this already, but they can always tweak it to be more personalized. And the more personalized they are, the best salespeople actually write really personalized follow-up emails, and that allows them to win deals even more. And that's super, super powerful. And so that's one opportunity for you, and we'll get into exactly how you can solve for it. The second thing that they actually struggle with, and this is a little bit flipped, but you get the idea, is the pre-call. Before a salesperson goes into a call, they do a ton of research on the companies. They prep for that call so they know what questions to ask, what the objections might be, what they need to watch out for so they can qualify it better. The pre-call and the post-call are huge opportunities in the day of a salesperson. And so therein lies your opportunity. So the questions that come up over here essentially is, post-call, how do I personalize? Are there specifics that I can mention that actually helps me win the deal more? Are there specific objections that I need to speak to and overcome? These are things that the salesperson thinks about post-call. Similarly, if you're pre-call, there's research, there's obstacles, and there's ICP fit. All of these things are essentially things that the salesperson is trying to do research on, so they show up in the call prepared. And again, CRM doesn't do this. Therein lies your opportunity. So if you were to build an AI-enabled SaaS platform, you can start to actually do post-call analysis. It's kind of like game time analysis of calls. You can review all the footage, you can look at best practices, you can have a trained model around their specific sales process, and you can say, hey, here's the post-call analysis on exactly what you should be doing, and that could be incredibly powerful. For the pre-call, this kind of borrows from this idea. Just like how you can train a model to research a company, not just to prospect, but for a pre-call. So you can create entire dossiers on, here's the call you're going into. Here's who's there, here's who's not coming, here's the organization map, and here's the biggest set of events that have happened for them. Here's what you should probably highlight that's most related to the product that you're selling. And so that could be your opportunity for your SaaS product. So I shared a lot over here, and this video is probably going to go really long, but these are my 7 ideas that I've developed using this framework. I did this over breakfast in the morning. I tweaked a couple of things as I was going through it with you, but I wanted to give you like the real time process that I follow after 15 years of experience in building SaaS companies. And now that I do the math, it's probably been more than 15 years, but I don't want to age myself. So it's been a long while, and I've used this framework consistently, and it's allowed me to save months of building the wrong product. Why? Because I start with the market. I go deep into exactly what market I'm targeting. I understand that market. I understand their problems. How do I understand their problems? I build up my go-to-market. And then I actually engage these people and talk to them and understand their lives. That allows me to flesh all these pieces out. And then based on that, I then develop my product thesis on which urgent and important problem I'm solving based on our conversations, and then I build it. That's the power of actually following this framework. And on top of that, I just gave you 7 incredible ideas. If I was still building for salespeople, any one of these ideas would excite me. I don't do it right now, but that's a personal choice, and that's why I'm sharing these ideas with you. And like I said in the beginning of this episode, there's 2 big reasons why I do this channel, why I love what I do. The first is going back to that kid in 2008 who just had that dream of building that SaaS business and getting independence. And the second was that kid that raised a Series B round from some of the best venture capital firms in the world, but was still in a room trying to figure out how exactly do we scale, like exactly how we do it. And that's why I do this channel. I learned a bunch of these things, the baby TK learned a bunch of these things the hard way. And that's why I share these principles with you so you can apply the frameworks and actually save yourself time and get to success. That's why I do what I do. And now you know exactly the framework that I use, my MGP framework, to actually develop my SaaS ideas. And on top of that, exactly the 7 SaaS ideas that I think are great SaaS ideas, especially given this incredible opportunity with AI-enabled SaaS companies today. Now, what you may not know is, TK, how do I pick the right market? How do I actually engage with these people? What do I ask them? How do I know if it's urgent or important? This is why I created my 10-point SaaS business checklist. It's a short checklist that actually outlines the key questions you should be asking yourself as you're developing that idea. This is something that I wish someone came out of nowhere and just handed to me when I was in that apartment and I was trying to figure out how to fulfill that dream of mine. That's what I have for you. So if you want to grab my 10-point SaaS business checklist, just go to tkkader.com/SaaS-checklist. tkkader.com/SaaS-checklist. It's completely free. And it's got the 10 questions that you should ask yourself so you can actually apply this framework. Also, if you got values from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. I drop an episode like this every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches, having done it, still doing it, and coaching over 250 founders through my go-to-market coaching program. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon, and you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. If you have a fellow founder, a fellow pre-founder, a potential co-founder, a team member, if you have a friend that would get value from this video or this channel and everything that we share, please share this with them. It would just mean the world to us. We want to help as many SaaS founders and pre-founders and leaders as possible. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode or inside the 10-point SaaS business checklist. That's a mouthful. Link below. Take care, everybody. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There we go. No wonder I passed grade school.